Hello everyone, this is Peter from Team Embarrassing Engineering again, and welcome to the third build progress video of our Beetleweight combat robot called Tekkadan. And in this video, we will be breaking down the brand new redesigned weapon discs that just arrived from the waterjet shop for Tekkadan. These weapon discs, as you may see, is quite different from the design that was showcased in the design breakdown video, and I'll go over the reasons as to why we changed this, and later I'll go over the design of these new discs. Okay, let's get to the reason why these spinners are completely redesigned and why the old ones were never produced. And the reason in of itself is quite simple, and that is because I am terrible at doing math. The old estimates for the chassis and for the electronics was actually 150 grams more than the actual weighing when I received all the electronics and weighed them. That meant I had about an extra 150 grams to work with. And since the spinner was never produced yet, I just decided to redesign the spinner and make it 150 grams heavier. The old design was about 450 grams, and the new one is now 600 grams. And that means it will have more moment of inertia and in theory also hit harder. So that is definitely a good thing. And of course, the added weight allowed me to make the spinner a little bit more visually interesting, having some extra designs going in here that is just for aesthetic purposes. And talking about the design, let's actually break down the designs of these new spinners right now. So this new spinner, the material is the same. It's made of Hardox 500. However, because it is a little bit more full, it's actually a little bit thinner, made of only 5mm instead of the original 1/4 inch. So this is 5mm thick Hardox 500. And you can see the ring here. This is actually the same diameter as the old one, and the tooth. So the effective diameter of this disc is identical to the old spinner. However, as you can see, the shape inside changed. I went with an aperture kind of looking spoke design, which although isn't the most efficient in terms of loading when on impacts, I think it looks quite cool. So I stuck with it. And instead of a dual direction tooth that is capable of hitting when spinning clockwise or counterclockwise, this is a single direction tooth. And this allowed me to incorporate an entire kind of spiral looking design into the tooth, which acts as both the tooth and the counterweight. So the spiral on this side is the counterweight, and this side is obviously the tooth. And here are also a line of holes. These holes are just for weight because this counterweight wasn't heavy enough, so these holes here make this side a little bit lighter, as this side has more reach. And that is the outside geometry of the disc. And then in here, you can see a hole in the middle. That is for a bearing. So this is the center weapon bearing. This fits in here perfectly. Well, with a little bit more force than my fingers. And then the pattern of holes on the outside, this has the same mounting pattern as the spacer. So the spacer will go on like this. And then after the spacer goes on, the weapon pulley will go on. And then the second bearing block. So here is another bearing which will help support the weapon better. So the second bearing block will go on. And then all of this creates a center hole that allows for the insertion of this weapon bolt, which is a dead shaft that holds the entire weapon system together. Okay everyone, that was a short introduction to the new redesigned spinners on Tekkadan. Stay tuned for a more in-depth breakdown of the weapon system in our next progress video. I hope you learned something today, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.